former college football player tries, quote, gay panic, end quote, defends after killing online date. Exactly 1 year after the beating death of an LGBTQ+ individual, a jury acquitted former Virginia Tech football player Isimemen Etute. According to reports, the victims, 40-year-old Jerry Paul Smith created a Tinder profile claiming to be a female emergency room physician. After they met for a sexual encounter where the victim posed as Angie Renee, Etute returned a few weeks later to confirm their gender. Upon finding that the victim was biologically male, Etute beat him to death. Etute pleaded not guilty during the, quote, gay panic, end quote, defense, which is used when perpetrators claims to have lost control after learning of someone's gender identity or sexual orientation. Virginia has recently passed a ban on the defense, but it does not take place or effect until July 1st.
Yeah, I've heard a lot about this sort of gay panic defense, and it still can be used in certain states and countries. And the idea behind it, I truly don't understand, because why is finding out someone's gender identity or sexual orientation jarring enough for you to go and physically harm them and even kill them? That's just, it's a weak excuse for just something so vile.
I never see people being as scared, which is why I'm very confused at the term homophobia, because they just want to discriminate and they want to hate against us. They're not scared of us because they've always had the advantage of, well, turning against us and making us the minority and having us being discriminated.
And additionally, like, this guy came back weeks later. Like, this wasn't in the moment or anything, where it still is not a relevant excuse, but obviously. But he came back weeks later. I don't see how that's not seen as a targeted attack.
Right, because it wasn't an immediate panic response. And even then, panic?
Yeah. Or even how is it not seen as a hate crime?
Right, and it's absurd to think that there's a justifiable type of reasoning to think that someone can actually harm, murder, or even cause serious permanent mental or physical harm to someone just because they're not straight or they're not conforming to an identity or a sexual orientation. So it's to think that that's still in place. It's pretty alarming.
Yeah.
It's archaic. It sounds like something you'd read in a history book rather than a newsline.
Right.
Mm.
It's really regressive.
Yeah, no, it's also important to remember that queer people have higher chances of suicide and mental illness. And so going out in some states for queer people is a daily fear if they are out. And so I think the knowledge of certain people living in those places where they can be murdered and it be justified,
Right.
that just adds to an already at-risk group of people.
Or even in Florida, when LGBTQ+ youth are indirectly being condemned to death, statistics show that when you don't give youth the support they need,
They are at higher risk for suicide.
Exactly.
LGBTQ+ news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out Television Network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure